Hello everyone, welcome to Book Club Preview. Today we're looking at the story of more, Chapter 7, Finding Fish. Now, Chapter 7 is really similar to the last few chapters we've read about meat production and farming. It's grown incredibly in the last 50 years. But the author starts off with Norway, talking about Norway and how Norwegians fish an incredibly large amount of our Atlantic salmon, the salmon that most of Europeans eat. And it's just an incredibly large amount. I think he says about 10% of the world's consumption of salmon comes from Norway. Wow. And Norway's a pretty small country. I think he says about 3 million people. But today, I can't remember exactly, but the number is like 7,000 people farm, I think, 10 tons of fish a year, which, man, it's just incredible. But Norwegians love salmon, and they use it in everything, or have it with everything, raw, baked, fermented. There's all sorts of different ways to have salmon in Norway. So she looks at the fishing industry like the other chapters. 50 years ago it was pretty big, but now it's just incredibly large, which, just the incredible growth. And it's been through different ways like technology, better boats, better radars, better way to keep the fish alive, all that kind of stuff. But the main point is it's just grown incredibly. And it's all thanks to salmon. And she tells this really funny story about one thief or something like that who was taking his boat and navigating these really dangerous islands and stuff, and he ends up coming into this river. It's a waterfall, and up the waterfall, all these salmon, salar, I'm not sure, are jumping up this waterfall trying to get to their spawning grounds. And the criminal, or I don't think he says criminal, but thief, vagabond, something, looks at this and he's like, whoa, this must be the stairway to Asgard. Asgard is like the Viking heaven. And she kind of makes a joke about this. And she just talks about how powerful and helpful that salmon are, because they can survive really easily, and they're really, really, well, they're delicious, but really, oh, what is that word? Durable. There we go. Kind of fish. And she kind of explains that a little bit. Nowadays, though, rather than farming that fish like we used to have to do 50 years ago, a lot of the fish that we eat is from aquaculture. Aquaculture is like agriculture, farming on land. This is farming in the ocean, where nowadays they have these huge nets that are about the size, 50 meters in diameter. She says about the size of an Olympic swimming pool. Oh, I guess that means this way, but goes down that distance too. And it's just full of like 1 million fish inside this area. And farmers feed the fish. They give the fish medicine. They clean the poop from the fish. They tag the fish. All sorts of different things to make sure that the fish stay healthy and we can harvest them really easily. And that has had a lot of effect on our oceans and the way that we do things. First of all, the food that the fish eat. So fish, the salmon, they need to eat about 3 pounds of meat, and that creates 1 pound of fish, salmon meat that we can eat. The problem is that the fish that salmon eat are taken from the ocean. They're not farmed. And these fish that are taken from the ocean, they're considered, like she says, foragers. These are fish that go around the ocean and eat plankton. And so these fish can grow very nutritiously, and a lot of other animals eat these fish, like dolphins and whales. So this supply of food from these foraging fish, we have been over farming potentially and turning into meat for our salmon. And that means less basic food for the other animals. You know, you can think of it like bread or rice. Okay, imagine wherever you're from, if you eat mostly bread or if you eat mostly rice, if that was, let's say in your family, you're eating together, and there was only one bowl of rice. Okay, whoever got that bowl first, they're the ones that get to eat rice. Everyone else has to eat the other side dishes or whatever else is there, or bread. You know, there's two slices of bread, and you know, maybe dad grabs a slice and mom grabs a slice, and then there's only like cheese and lettuce or meat or something left. Okay, that's kind of the foraging fish for the ocean. They're that basic unit of food that everyone eats. But you know, we've created farms of all sorts of different things. Lobsters, clams, mussels, like there are just huge farms all over the world dedicated to growing these items that we eat every day. One of them in particular is seaweed. And the amount of seaweed that has been grown in the last 50 years has increased, I think, about 50 times. It's crazy. It was like 1 million, 1 million something or other plants harvested. Now it's like 50 million. It's crazy. And the funny thing about seaweed, though, is we only eat, well, let me start like this. 50% of that seaweed is turned into fertilizer for like farms, things like that. I think like another percentage is used for something else, and the next 50% is used for food, but not in the way of eating seaweed in our mouths. It's turned into a chemical, or I don't know if I want to say chemical, but a food product that keeps food from spoiling, or like substitute milk or eggs. So if I'm a baker and I'm creating some bread or something like that, I want to use milk and eggs to kind of create some fluffiness in that food. But the problem is milk and eggs, bacteria likes to eat those, and then they can get rotten and you can't eat that thing anymore. So seaweed has this really unique part of it that works a lot like eggs and milk. So we can put it in our bread, our donuts, our pastries, anything you really find in a sealed bag that says it will expire in 10 years probably has this seaweed product rather than like just milk or eggs. And that's going to keep it fluffy, but without letting it expire soon. And so seaweed has really created this really unique food culture that now we all consume. Okay, let's get to vocabulary. The first one is philandering. Philandering is kind of like flirting or playing with or kind of teasing in a romantic way. Piscine is relating to fish, like bovine was relating to cows, and I can't remember the one that related to pigs. Scarf down is to consume quickly. We're scarfing down tons of fish. Anesthetize is to make something so it can't feel. So if you go to the dentist, but it can also mean putting to sleep. So in order to put some like tag On the fish, you have to put them to sleep so you can grab them, tag them, put them back in the water. Grab it, tag it, put it back in the water. So making it so it can't feel or putting it to sleep. Excrete means to have something come out of you. For example, in our book's case, it's talking about poop. So the fish poop 5 times more than humans. But excrete could also be like a slime. A frog excretes slime from his skin. Humans, we can say like perspiring, can also be like an excrete. You know, our skin opens up a little bit and water comes out to cool off our body. Okay, we have some chemicals that excrete from our bodies to give us a certain smell for us and things like that. So excrete can have several different meanings, but in this case, it just means poop. Functity is like the richness or fertility. So the richness of farming was more important than the richness of being green. That's what like the Norwegian government decided. Panacea is like a cure or a remedy. You know, maybe sometimes thought of like a magical kind of cure. And that leaves us with discussion question. If it looks like ice cream, tastes like ice cream, do you care if it's actually seaweed? Okay? I think this question is so funny, right? There's so many different things that we eat that aren't really what we think they are. Oh, crab, I think is a really good example. Most of the crab we eat is actually a fish, I believe. But if it looks like crab, smells like crab, tastes like crab, do you really care if it's something different? Um, I think that's a great question. Of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today, but thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.